Peace, brother. We back. So last we left off, you said you started hanging in bed style and you turned blood. So
Yeah.
question to you. Now you're a full-fledged blood member at around 14, 15, right?
No, this is
Oh,
like
12.
12. This is
Oh,
like
shit,
12
yeah,
or
yeah,
11.
even younger. So initially, what set did you join?
This is non-Interrogation.
Okay, so you
Now at
been
the
that.
time, it was the whole thing about you couldn't be a part of being blood unless you was 16 and older, where you was able to go to Rikers Island. But
That rule was out the window.
That was jacking that.
I turned blood young, 14, 15, and juvenile Spofford. So that rule was out the window. But those dudes was coming back from Rikers Island as well, and they would, so that's what was happening with us. But so you're 12 years old when you blood with an individual from Bedford-Stuyvesant. So your induction to this gang life was from a kid that was a couple years older than you. You said they had a brotherhood that you admired that you lacked, of course, in between your own neighborhood and your household. So what are some of the early lessons that you were taught as a gang member? Whether positive or negative, or did you get taught anything that you felt was valuable, that taught you a little bit about survival?
One thing was loyalty. The way that it was shown and explained to me, like the fact that there was no questions asked when it was time to go. Where if I could put that much loyalty in a person to the fact that I don't even have to ask no questions. I just know for a fact that what this person is telling me is golden, because they're battle tested. Was just back then was one lesson that I learned. How you stand by the people that you know, the people that you got love for. That was something serious for me, because I didn't have none of that growing up.
Right. I understand. I mean, so you're talking the 90s. This era of camaraderie, brotherhood was definitely a little bit more tight knit than it turned out to be. So things are definitely different now. So I can understand. So now you're getting into things in your neighborhood. You are definitely in the midst of a Crip neighborhood in your blood. I understood, because we're not too far from each other, but we have more bloods on our side. So you later did eventually, venture up to where we were, and we all started hanging together.
Yeah.
So how'd you get up the hill real quick? How'd you get up to where we were?
There was this. I ended up finding out that I had a cousin that lived up there on Bergen, and me and her ended up being real cool. So she was letting me stay there. She was letting me stay at her place or whatever. I was about 19, 20, and that's the real reason why I started staying up there. And I just met more and more people and liked the vibes and everything, so I stayed.
Okay. So from 11 to 19, life was tumultuous for you, meaning things were still rocky. Were you going to jail, juvenile, stuff like that in between these times?
Actually, no, I didn't. It's like I don't know how you want to put it. I had a feather up my eye, a rabbit foot, whatever. But I was always able to dodge the police when it came. I was in the street just like everybody else doing the whole.
I know that. I definitely know that.
I just never had that bad luck to where I was.
Never got nothing. You never been as an adolescent, juvenile, or nothing prior to
none
this.
of that.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh man, you did have a feather, because shit, you was stumbling blocks from, all the way through. So you make it through that. Did your life so now we at 19 years old. We'll skip a little bit. Was your life any better? Because now you feel like you have to stay at your cousin's house. Was your life any better?
I wouldn't say it was better, but it was better for me, because at the time I was trying. I just had my daughter. She was born December 20th, 2003. I was 19, and it was a different vibe for me. I was trying to get out the streets. I was trying to work security at the time, and I just couldn't find no work. I didn't have a high school diploma, so it was a lot harder for me. But it didn't stop me from trying. It was just real discouraging because of the fact that I couldn't get anything. So
So you did try. I remember that too. Binghamton and stuff like that.
Yeah, you know,
I remember that.
with the bro, rest in peace to Bones.
All praises due, yes. Thank you, yo.
Yeah.
Shout out to the hill.
He,
that's my baby boy.
I got in contact with him. Me and him started clicking real heavy. And
he was the Billy too, though.
Yeah, that was the Billy. So what happened was, I ended up going out of town with him. We ended up going to Binghamton, Johnson City, Elmira, Oneonta. We was doing our numbers out there.
I remember that. Yeah, those were some times, man. But now you hustling, you moving in and out of town, you still don't get knocked. Because as you remember, we were all up on that hill at that time. You talking about 2003, 4, 5 was going through tumultuous times in regards to a lot of gunplay, a lot of issues. You definitely know that. And we was going through it. You know, all of us was going to jail sometimes, trying to hustle. It was just a different time up there at that time, and you still were able to duck police. Because remember, Binghamton was quite crazy. A lot of things was happening out there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of gas.
They called it Little Brooklyn.
Huh? Yeah, it was definitely Brooklyn.
They called Binghamton Little Brooklyn.
That's a fact. They do. RFP, my man Ron Dog. He got killed out there. You know what I mean? All praise due from Brownsville Project. That's a good brother. So now you're going through all these things. But as we trickle down a bit, now you from the hill. Now you up on the hill with us, and there's a lot more Bloods up there. It's Crips, but you know the area you was, it was Bloods. So now you still connected to your hood in a sense. What changed with the relationship with them? Because you remember I used to pull up on you with a lot of the Crips that I knew, and y'all used to be 57,000 deep on the corner, one Blood. You know what I mean, Rob. It's like, so what changed? R.I.P. Roach. That's my little son.
Yeah,
Roach. So now we down there.
Mike, rest in peace to everybody. Well, what happened is that that's my neighborhood. I've been there all my life. So
right. So you did build some relationships.
For me, ripping and running all through the hood and doing my dirt the way that I was doing it, it became more from a dislike to a high respect. You know, I used to get jumped a lot in my neighborhood, but because of the fact that, you know, I'm from Brownsville, so I can't run. You know, we don't run where we from.
That's a fact. You know that. That's a fact.
You know, so from always standing and fighting, it became from, it started as a disrespect, me getting jumped and all of that, to the point where it's always, I stand and fight, now they respect me. The older dudes from the neighborhood started respecting me, and I was getting money out of town with a lot of them too. This is before Bones, you know, before I moved up to here, through my teenage years, I was getting money out of town with them out in Baltimore and all of that. So the way they liked the way that I moved,
and you never switched and turned Crip, man. That's the honorable thing that we all did. No. That's just crazy.
I felt like what would be the reason for me leaving one gang to join another when it's pretty much the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
They all, you know, we all stand for the same thing. It's just the mind thing. You know, somebody get hurt from this side, so they want to, you know, people from this side want to hurt people from that side, and then it goes on from generation to generation.
Yeah, that's how it was. I didn't really like that. I'll tell you the truth, man. Like, when I really found out you were like tripping, down there with them, it's not that I didn't like it, but it was like hard to believe because I knew that to be such a, and you had to be like heavily violently respected in order to even like be down there like that, or even come down there and not have them say nothing to you. So it took me some time to like be extreme where I could come down and jump out on the corner and it's 50 of y'all, you know, but you know it was always something around us, but still it was like, it was mind-boggling to me. And then I start seeing you, you know, assist us in some of the things that we had going on without question. And then you say this without question. Now that takes me back to a couple of incidents we had together, and you didn't question us when we asked for some assistance. You know what I mean? It's like, so you must have gotten that from them Tompkins dudes. Shout out to them, my son Despo and them too. that whole without
Yeah,
question
the whole
thing, that
tank.
brotherhood thing. So I see that now a little bit, man, because you definitely didn't have any questions and things was happening on our side, and I truly respect that. So you're an adult now, you gangbanging, you hustling, you selling drugs. What's your relationship like with your daughter at this time? Because this is like she's like 5 now almost, right? 4?
I was fully involved. With
Okay.
with my daughter's upbringing. So me and my wife right now, this is my daughter's mother, we was going strong. You know, we both the same age. Matter of fact, happy birthday to my wife. Today's her birthday.
Okay. Well, happy birthday to the sister.
Absolutely. So, we was going strong. I was fully involved. I would say that I was actually hustling for my daughter. I had the idea of knowing how young girls grow up in our neighborhood without fathers fully involved in their life. They turn to the streets. They start having sex at a young age and being real promiscuous with things. I didn't want that for my daughter. And usually it's because of, there's no money in the household, really. So girls venture out in order to get money from guys like us, So I wanted to make sure that my daughter wanted for nothing. And in order for me to do that was for me to make sure that there was enough money coming in the house.
All right.
Sometimes there was, sometimes there wasn't. But
those are the ups and downs. Those are the ups and downs of hustle life. Sometimes it was. That's definitely how it works. It's an up and down thing. So I don't even feel bad about that, bro. So your mindset was to hustle for baby girl. Shout out to her.
Yeah.
And you still doing this. You're going through what you're going through, and just lead us up to where you are. Lead us up to that. And some of the events that took place.
Oh, with me being locked up right now?
Yeah, lead us up to that a little bit. Tell us a little bit of how you got there, and then some of the relationships you formed.
I think I don't want to get the date mixed up, but I don't have it in front of me right now. A friend of mine named Teddy, he was from Crown Heights. He was killed. He was killed over in the Fort Greene area. It devastated us, because Teddy was one of those young get fly kind of kids or whatever. He was in the streets, but he wasn't running around killing people or none of that. He was good. He was good
Crip?
to everybody. Yeah, he was Crip. Yeah. So he was, he used to be on my side of the neighborhood with my friend Zaire. He go by Ziggy. So he used.
How did they meet? If you know that they were related, or how did they meet?
They was friends from school, but I think they knew each other from real young because Zaire spent a lot of time in Crown Heights as a kid. So him and Teddy was real close. And what happened was Teddy got killed in 2005. So now, fast forward, sometime later, it comes to find out that people in the neighborhood saying that the person that killed Teddy was this guy named Lee from Crown Heights or Bed-Stuy or whatever.
What's the street name?
Excuse me?
What's the street name?
Oh, he goes by 50.
Okay.
Sometimes some people know him as Lee. Some people knew him as 50. So I never met the kid or anything. So I don't know like exactly where he's from or whatever. I just know from my paperwork what neighborhood he lived in at the time. So
okay.
What happened is he was killed. And by what the government, the district attorney is saying that it was a revenge killing from him killing Teddy. So what happened is on October 27, 2008, downtown Brooklyn on Fulton Street, the guy 50 was chased into a beauty salon and he was murdered, where there was also 4 other people, including an off-duty officer, was shot inside the salon. Later that night, another guy that I knew, he was from Crown Heights, named Paul Went. He went by Pele. he was arrested, and after 4 days, 3-4 days of interrogation, the police gave him my name, and he told the police that I had something to do with the crime. And he also said that my friend Zaire had something to do with the crime.
Talking about Ziggy Zao, praise Zook.
Yeah, Ziggy Zah.
Okay.
He also said that Ziggy Zah had something to do with the crime.
Okay. And as after that accusation, you guys were later arrested?
I got arrested. Well, first they questioned me about, I would say, on Halloween. So it happened October 27th. I would say like Halloween or the day before, October 30th. They came and questioned me out in Connecticut. I was at my father's house in Bridgeport, Connecticut. They came and questioned me for hours, about almost a good 12 hours they questioned me.
Well, they came and locked. They came way out
there
and they questioned you.
This is what's crazy about it. They came out there with no arrest warrant or nothing. They didn't have no warrant or nothing to come and see me. They just came to my father's house, about 15 officers deep, knocked on the door, and told my sister that they the police and that they had a 911 call that there was a child in danger inside the apartment, and we need to open the door. So my father, during his time in prison, he was in the law library. He learned some things about law and all of that. He told them to come back with a warrant. There's no children inside the apartment. There's nothing to worry about. Come back with a warrant. Now, they tried to kick the door in because there's something called exigent circumstances, where if there is a crime happening inside the apartment, then the police have the right of way to kick the door in and come in. But NYPD don't have any jurisdiction in Connecticut. So this is the reason why they didn't kick the door in, and my father knew this. I didn't know any of it. He knew what was going on before anything ever happened. So he told him to stay outside. Ultimately, what he did after was call 911, told the Bridgeport Police Department that there was people in his hallway with guns trying to get inside of his apartment. The Bridgeport Police Department came. They draw guns. They arguing, screaming in the hallways. About 20 minutes pass, and then they knock on the door. My father opened the door for the Bridgeport Police Department. They say that the NYPD is here to talk to your son, and this and third, about some murder shit. And I agreed to go to the precinct with them to talk to them. So while we sit in the precinct for about 12 hours, they questioned me about all types of things, dealing with shit that I didn't know of at the time. And they ultimately let me go the next night. Or the next morning, they let me go.
Okay. And after they let you, so they questioned you, and how did they get this tip that you were even out there?
Well, what happened was somebody gave them my phone number. I never.
You have 1 minute left.
Because I never changed my phone number because there was no reason to. They had my phone number. They tracked it all the way out to Connecticut, followed me to my father's apartment, and that's how they came up.
Oh, okay. So at that time, they let you go. They didn't even lock you up for that. Yeah,
they let me go. I gave them an alibi, told them where I was at the time of the crime,
and it checked out.
I guess they just let me go. I guess they wanted to investigate the alibi. But later on, I come to find out that the reason why they let me go was because at that time, Paul Witt did not give them my name. So they had no evidence or nothing to link me to the crime. Someone else from the neighborhood must have said that I was probably involved and they had me as a person of interest. That was the reason why they came and spoke to me.
Oh, man.
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.